Greetings. Welcome to Mrs. Gerst, A Moment in Black History. Have you ever heard of Mark Dean? Mark E. Dean is an American inventor and computer engineer. He developed the ISA bus, and he led a design team for making a 1 gigahertz computer processor chip. He holds counted three of 9 PC patents for being the co-creator of the IBM personal computer, which was released in 1981. Let's learn more about Mr. Dean here.
I grew up in a little town in East Tennessee, Jefferson City, Tennessee, to be precise, just outside of Knoxville. It was in the obviously in the late 50s, early 60s. My first school, first and second grade, was in the black school in the little town. I enjoyed taking apart things, putting them back together. My father started me. He was also a tinkerer. There wasn't anything he couldn't fix. I first knew I wanted to work for IBM when I was actually in middle school. At that time, I became enthralled or very interested in computers. And so at that time, I said I wanted to be an engineer. I was fortunate to keep my grades up, get a scholarship to go to the University of Tennessee. When I graduated from the University of Tennessee with my undergraduate degree, and started with IBM, I knew I wanted to immediately start working on my master's degree. And so I went to Florida Atlantic University when it was much smaller than it is now. And they had a master's program in electrical engineering. And so I got my master's degree from Florida Atlantic University. And so after about 10 years working on the PC, I knew it was time. I told IBM I wanted to get my PhD. They said, great, we'll cover the cost, but you got to pick a school that is worthy of going to. I said, okay. And so I applied to Stanford. Actually, I applied at quite a few schools, MIT and others. They all accepted me, but I thought Stanford would be a neat place to go. And so having the opportunity to go to a university like Stanford was great. The PC patents that I worked on with the team actually came first. Most of them, I think the first few were on the color graphics adapter for the original PC. The ISA bus patents came second because the ISA bus was defined in the PCAT. And so most of the technology we developed to support the PCAT was integrated into the ISA bus definition, and those patents applied to that. The ISA bus was developed obviously back in the mid-'80s to support the PCs at the time, IBM PCs at the time. We developed that bus to be expandable, so the systems could attach other devices, and it allowed the industry to build devices that would plug into the PC. So it essentially created an industry because we openly defined the bus. So it was the bus of choice for a long time, and it led to, I think its biggest contribution was it helped establish the industry. I mean, that if you had to point to one thing, it enabled the industry to build not only systems that were all identical and compatible, but adapters that were all the same for the same interface. So it created an opportunity for people to build stuff and make money, basically, and make a difference in people's lives. And so I kind of never stopped patenting. I always had interesting ideas that seemed to have never been done before. My most recent ones are in the area of neuromorphic computing, where you're using the brain as a model for computing. And you're using neurons and synapses, at least artificial neurons and synapses, to build systems that operate more like the human brain. So I had a plan. When I started with IBM, I knew what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, and what positions I wanted to hold for the next 40 years, actually, including an academic career. Yeah, when I was getting ready to retire from IBM, I obviously looked around to different places that would be interesting to work at. University of Tennessee was starting some work in neuromorphic computing, which I was interested in. The professors there kind of embraced me, said, "Yeah, Mark would be nice to have as part of the faculty." So that was, everything kind of came together. As I was interim dean at the College of Engineering at University of Tennessee, that's a great job, a great college. That opportunity was a special opportunity for me. I am not afraid to try. And if I try and fail, then it's a learning experience. It's not a failure. And that's got to be your mindset. If you're afraid to try, you'll never discover anything.
Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day.